Welcome to the Our Team Podcast, powered by eXp Realty. Are you an agent looking to level up? Are you someone looking to buy or sell real estate? Fantastic. This is the show for you.
Welcome to the Our Team Podcast. I'm Brian Auer. I'm a little under the weather today. I don't know what that means when I hear people say under the weather. Everybody's under the weather every single day if you think about it. The weather, and you're out in it or whatever. Doesn't matter what the weather is, you're under the weather. I don't understand that phrase. I have a head cold. I feel like I have congestion. I think what it is, I have so many thoughts running around in my head. They're colliding with each other.
And now you're under the weather with thoughts.
It's just really irritating. So if I sound a little bit different, it's because I do sound a little bit different because my head is all clogged. And why does that even happen? Why does a person's voice change when their head gets clogged? Why does that matter? My voice is down here.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but we're going to go with that. It's a nasal problem.
It must be the incorporation of the nasal cavity when you talk and the lack thereof when your head is clogged. Anyway, we are not going to talk about this today.
That's good. I'm not a certified doctor.
No. We are going to talk about something that we have been talking to buyers a lot about. And if you're watching this podcast or you're listening to this podcast, it's because you're interested in new builds and you are thinking about possibly going in that direction. So whether you are a real estate agent and you're working with buyers, or if you are a buyer and you're just thinking about getting new construction instead of buying a pre-owned home, I think this podcast is for you. I wanted to address a couple things because we've been answering these questions to the buyers that we're working with on the team, which right now I think collectively we're probably working with at least 50 buyers, at least, from various different sources. And a lot of them have been asking us about new builds, and they're interested in them. And so, as you know, you can represent a buyer at a new build. And if you're an agent, don't tune out because there's some good stuff in here for you, because you still play a big role in helping a buyer get a home that's a new build, new construction. So I wanted to talk about 7 reasons, and these are the 7 reasons we give, 7 reasons why it's actually a good idea to consider new construction. We can get through this, right? 7 of them?
Hopefully.
There's more than this. You leave comments in the description if you if you think there's more than 7. There probably is, but I'm going to give you my favorite 7 on why it's a good idea to consider new construction. The first thing is there's a shortage of inventory right now. There's a lot of home sellers that are sticking with what they have because they don't want to give up their low interest rate, so they're not selling their homes. There's a lot of people that are just hanging tight right now, and that's because they've got maybe a 2.5 or 3.5, maybe even a 4% interest rate. And why give that up when you can hold on to your well, I should say, why give that up when it means you're going to get closer to 6.25 right now as far as interest rates? That means selling your home is, whether you're moving up or moving down, that's a big difference in payment. So, of course, that's probably a big reason why new construction is really kind of a good play right now, because there's a lot more available as far as inventory goes, and that's really why. New builds are starting all over the place here in the Temecula Valley. So probably it's happening near where you are, because nationally the new build starts they're up. So there's a lot of new construction going on. And when you compare that with what's going on in the pre-owned market, it's just more opportunity. So that's the first one. There's a shortage of inventory. So look at new builds. The second thing is you can get away with a lower deposit. I mean, sometimes you can, if you're going to be financing the whole thing anyway, and you're a little bit cash poor, you don't have to put 3% down as an earnest money deposit, or 1% even. You can get away with sometimes $1,500, to put down on a new build, or more realistically, three or five. We did just represent a buyer, or in the process, and she had to put down $12,000. Not sure why it was that much, but normally it's just much lower deposits, and so that's kind of a nice thing. The third thing is the builders are actually buying down the interest rate. So it's hard to get a seller that's in a pre-owned home to be okay with buying down your rate. Unless you come in really, really strong on your offer, it's harder to do that. But the builders are actually doing that. They're buying down rates, by 1.5 points or so. So isn't that, Mr. Producer? It's about that, right?
I think that's about right. I was always going to say that the interest rate buy down is a way that you could entice somebody out of their secondary home.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like an upgrade to a new home? We can get you a similar rate,
Exactly.
If you find the builder and they want something brand new, you can get them out of their home and then put them in there and say, well, it's going to be similar rates anyway.
That's true. And I think that's why they're doing it. They're buying down the interest rate to sort of make that payment a lot more manageable. And, your chances of getting a rate buy down by buying a new build and using the builder's lender is much, much stronger than if you do this on the resale. Yeah.
But they also have a little bit more leeway with price, because their prices, probably they bought the land and all of it was less at the time, and now it's worth more.
They have a lot of flexibility. The builders have all the power, right? So they can do what they want to make the deal work. And a lot of them are getting really aggressive. So we've got, that brings us into the fourth thing on why it's a good idea to consider new construction right now, and that is that the builder is willing to cover your closing costs. And so, when you buy a home, you have recurring and non-recurring closing costs that are part of the equation. And they're willing to kind of put all of that into one bucket and just pay it for you. And not only are they buying down your rate, but they're covering a lot of your closing costs that would have to come out of your pocket in order to close escrow on a previously owned home. So it's another really good reason, right? By the way, these aren't in any particular order. The seven, my favorite 7 reasons why, are not necessarily in order. Let's go to the 5th reason. Free upgrades. The builder's giving all kinds of upgrades right now. And look, I'm broad brushing. Not every builder's doing this. But you can get builders right now to give free washer and dryer, free refrigerator, free minimal budgeted landscape backyards, window covering packages, things like that. Those kind of upgrades. And free upgrades are always a good thing. Try to get a free upgrade when you're buying a pre-owned home. Write your offer on a $700,000 house and say, we would like a brand new refrigerator, washer and dryer, and this and that and the other. It's going to be go pound sand, So number 5, free upgrades. I think it's a really big deal. And again, you're not going to get that from the pre-owned scenario. You're going to get that from the builder, though, most likely. The 6th thing is you can be a contingent buyer. You can write an offer or make an offer on a new build and be contingent. You still have time frames, timelines. You still have to make sure that your home is in escrow at a certain time. And there's, certain escalation clauses and things like that might apply. But the reality is, it's a lot easier to be contingent, meaning you have to sell your home in order to buy a home. It's a lot easier to be contingent and purchase a new home from a builder than it is to buy a pre-owned home from Joe Schmo seller. It just is. Because a lot of our sellers right now, they don't want to risk a contingency. So they would much rather they'd much rather take an offer that does not have a contingent buyer. or that isn't a contingent buyer. I hope that makes sense. I'm having a hard time wording things today. I think it's because my head's just clogged. So that's the sixth thing. Contingent buyers are allowed. The seventh thing, and this one will take some explaining, there's less competition on new builds. And to prove that, that's why they're offering all those incentives, because there just is less competition on the new builds. There's more attention on pre-owned homes most of the time. And so you've got less competition. It's just easier. There's a lot of misconceptions about buying a new home, which is another reason why there's less competition. And that the biggest misconception is it's just going to cost you so much more to buy a new home than to buy a pre-owned home. It's sort of like, well, it costs more to buy a new car. It must cost more to buy a new home, right? Buying a used car, you get a discount. Buying a pre-owned home, you get a discount. It doesn't work like that. The fact is, you do have more things to pay for in terms of landscaping and getting the home personalized and doing those kind of things, of course. But the amount of savings that you get up front more than compensates for that. So the misconception is also, oh, you're going to pay so much higher taxes on a newer home. Well, that's true. You will pay. There's special assessments on the tax rolls. Of course, you're going to have to pay more. By the time you do the math on it, most of the taxes pencil out to be around pretty close to 2% on a new home, which could, on the average, be about another $600 a month to own that new home. But when you factor in that they're coming with solar, that they're coming with much better energy ratings, low flow showers, and they're saving with everything having to do with energy, they're saving money. And so your water bill is way less. Your electric bill is way less. Your gas bill, if there is one, is way less. Everything is cheaper when it comes to utilities on a new home compared to an older home. And so, yeah, you are paying higher taxes, which you write off anyway. But goodness gracious, what you're going to save monthly in utilities is it's more than, wouldn't you agree? It's absolutely a wash. Because you can save, you're going to pay an extra $500 or $600 in taxes, especially in the summertime, $500 or $600 just in electric bill. So by having a newer home, you will save a lot of money, and most people just feel like, it's just going to be so much more, I'm going to stay away from new homes, when the opposite in many cases is true. So there's less competition because of that. So anyway, should I run through those really, really fast? Just to recap, let's do that. There's 7 reasons why it's a good idea to look at new construction right now. There's a shortage of inventory. You can get away with a lower deposit. You can get the builder to buy down your interest rate. You can get them to cover your closing costs, number 4. Number 5, you can get free upgrades in many cases. You can be contingent, that's number 6. And number 7 is there's just less competition. Of course, it depends on the builder. There's some smoking hot builders out there that sell out before they break ground. But on the average, I think these 7 things hold true. And that's all I wanted to share. If you guys have any questions about this, or you want to go, check out what's happening with new construction, if you want a free list of everything having to do with new construction, reach out to us. We can get it over to you free of charge, no strings attached. We have access to everything that's coming soon as far as new construction. When they break ground, we have all of that info, and it's free to us, so would be free to you.
And don't forget to check out our new playlist on Temecula Valley New Homes.
That's
new
right.
Home construction.
Yeah, we have a whole playlist on new construction and all kinds of stuff on our YouTube page. So that's the Our Team YouTube page.
It is.
Exciting stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, again, reach out to us. We're easy to get a hold of, and we will Catch you on the next one.
See you then.